Thank you all for coming. This is it's a very, not only a sad event, but we are here to celebrate the life of our Reverend Swami Sridharananda Maharaj.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. We are here to celebrate the life of our beloved Reverend Swami Sridharananda Maharaj. And the best way we thought is to do reminiscences of our interactions with him, what we did and how he changed our lives, how he affected our lives, how we touched our lives. So we have a number of devotees who would like to share their views and thoughts and experiences with Reverend Swamiji. So I request each one of them to come forward and tell us about their interactions with him and what happened and how it happened, a brief summary of what happened. So we'll start the proceedings with one of the leading and ancient and very many years of experience of Mr. Govindanaya. Please come forward and start the proceedings, please.
Yes, let him come. Namaste, Swamiji. Respected Swamiji and dear friends, it is with great heart that we gather today to pay homage to our Pujya Sri Sridharananda ji Maharaj. I can hold that. Should I too? Yeah. It's on only. Yes. Okay. His departure is irreparable loss to us, not to us, to the whole community. But his teachings and the moments will be shared with forever with us. It remains. Now, let me start what I had, my experience with the Swami Sridharananda ji. In the year 2000, the first darshan I had of our Sridharananda ji at Maina Street, Strathfield. Am I right? Yes, Strathfield. When I looked at him and I saw him, it went back to my memory of our home warden, Ramakrishna Vedanta, Vedanta comes, Ramakrishna Mission Students' Home at Mylapore, Chennai in 1956. Swami Siddharthananda ji, he was our warden. There absolutely more the difference only in complexion, otherwise I thought I am looking at Swami Siddharthananda ji. I offered my pranams. In fact, one of my visits I had been to Sydney. It was not that I wanted to go, but one of my visits. It used to be my practice. Wherever I go, if there is any Ramakrishna mission, I used to attend that, be a mutt or be an ashram or small. In fact, earlier I used to attend the Ramakrishna Savitri. Many people may be knowing about them. I used to attend their office. So I attended him. I prayed my pranams to Swamiji. It was very small, 3 by 3, I think, in my opinion, maybe a little more. In that room, Swamiji was sitting on the floor with a mat on, writing on the desk like this, with his left hand. I noticed, right. Then I introduced myself, who am I and all, shortly. Then Sabeji, the founder of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of Victoria, the founder was our Tabesh Gangopadhyayji. Most of us, we know him. When I told Tabeji that I am going to Sydney, you better go and see Swamiji and invite him to our ashram. I think he came around 2000 I don't know which month and all. So he must be knowing about it. So I told him, Swamiji, I have come down, and then he inquired about some of the devotees' name. Some of them I do not remember. One name I distinctly remember, none other than my cousin sister, Dr. Nandita Bhattacharya. He was asking about her, how is she? Then he threw a few names I could not remember. Then he was inquiring about Tabiji also. Then I told him about Swamiji, please visit our society, Vedanta Society it was. It was not center at the time. Swamiji said, yes, we'll do. Ask your president, because when I told him our president, Tabesh Gangobadhyaya, when I said possibly, he repeated the same. Ask your president to send me a formal invitation letter. He said, yes. I returned back and I told reported whatever our Swamiji, later on I used to call him Bade Swamiji, because after this Swamiji has come, we started calling Bade Swamiji. Then later on, rest among themselves, they must have been communicating either by phone or letter. Those are all irrelevant now. Then in 2000, then in our committee meeting, then 2001, I don't remember. I don't have enough time to dig my history records and all. When he came actually. However, he came in 2001 for lectures. In our small committee meeting, it was decided who is to bring him from airport. And then Tabeji, Govindanji, why don't you do it? Yes, I will do it. In fact, I wanted to opt it, but I was new to that society because there are other senior members. They would like to do it. Then Swamiji said, Tabeji said, okay, you can do. So on his return, actually Swamiji, Bade Swamiji used to come 3 days, once in a month for 3 days. That was Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Saturday afternoon, by 3 o'clock the lecture, it starts by 3 and 4. Earlier days he used to have 1.5 hours. Later on it was cut to 1 hour. I don't know the reason about it. Then on Saturdays, our General Secretary Maharaj, Suresh, he used to drop him back to airport so that Swamiji wanted to attend Aarati by 7 o'clock. So he was very particular about it. My job was to bring him from airport, drop him again at his house. He used to take rest and all. So that was the assignment given to me, and that was continuing. In the of course, in various halls, mainly the halls were educational institutions. They were one Monash University, again Nandita's contribution. She introduced, I think her name is Catherine, I don't remember her name anyway. She mentioned to me, then I met her and we started getting the Rotunda Hall, correct? Am I right to speak? Right. There are about 6, 7, I do not know how many halls were there. In those halls, one of the halls, every month we were given, Swamiji was giving lecture. Here comes, days, month after month he was coming. It was that was 21st of February, Thursday, yes. I brought him to the airport, and as usual I did my duty to drop Swamiji at Suresh's house. The next day happened to be Friday. For me it was not a good Friday. It was a horrible Friday. I attended this Swamiji lecture started. In earlier days, the pattern of lecture and all, typical way, I do not know whether it was established by our Tabeji, yes. Start with the prayer. Then again, of course, the Swamiji started coming, so for about 6 or 8 few months, we were into welcome Swamiji and introduce Swamiji to audience. Most audience and devotees, most of them by that time, they knew who Swamiji was, so that was stopped to save time. So our Suresh was very kind enough to offer me Govindji, you better give this welcome address to that Swamiji. Am I right, Suresh? Yes, so. In that way, on that day, yes, it was on 22nd of February, 2002. Usual, welcome and again introduce Swamiji. Then I went up. That is the last seat in the gallery. That is the place where I used to sit. Of course, in school days, I used to sit in the front bench. As age up, the last lecture started. About 15, 20 or half an hour, less than that. I started feeling I was not well suddenly. Something has happened. Then there is an exit gate without disturbing the hall people. I went out. And at the time, there was a lawn and all there. Nowadays, some buildings have come now. I threw up, vomited heavily, and lied down there for about 15 minutes. Slowly, I came up. Neelakantan was sitting by side of me. I used to carry this donation box. People normally put in their lectures. Then I told Neelakantan, you please pass it on to Suresh. I am not well, I am going home. To reach that car park, I find it very difficult in both of the knees and hands. I did not know what it was. Later on only I could realize somebody told that it was a mild heart attack. I did not know much about it. I had it. Then the story goes and I was admitted in the hospital. The following day, Swamiji was informed and Swamiji, after reaching Sydney, he communicated, he talked to my wife and inquired about it. On then again, couple of, among the cardiac physicians and cardiac surgeons, they were discussing among themselves, they have to do something, either some treatment has to be given. Among themselves, I think some sort of discussion was going on, whether to or not to go for bypass operation. Bypass operation, because I had five blocks were there. Subsequently, I had heart attack. They said it would be so tender whether to do or not. Finally, they decided to go ahead with it. It was a day fixed, that is 1st of March, bypass operation, Monash Hospital. Previous day, 28th, yes, 28th. Our Swamiji, Revered Sridharananda ji, came to hospital, came to my bed. I was really shocked. I never expected it. I was not informed that he is going to come at all. Came there and hey, come on, that's a problem. I become more emotional. Anyway, sorry, excuse me, please. Then I was narrating what has happened and all. In this, then he removed his that is Jabamala and kept it in his hand like this and chanted something. Then he put it on my head as well as on my chest. It was really at the verge of emotional outbursts. Boy, I could not control my tears. Then, as usual, he pacified me. Everything is okay. Then he was about to go. Before he left, again he put his hand on my head. I felt this. Really, what to do? Anyway, Devam Manusharupena, all of you must have heard this after small Sanskrit. Human being, God is the human being. Yes, God visited me one day prior to my operation. I was really, okay, nothing. Because the first time, I have never ever heard about the bypass surgery. I did not bother to know about it. So many things are available in internet and all. I did not. Then operation, everything went off right. After 2 weeks, or within 3 weeks' time, Swamiji visit was due. Somebody else brought Swamiji. I don't know whether it was Rita or somebody else brought Swamiji there. Then Swamiji visited with some of our few members to my house before that meeting. Then of course Swamiji was talking to us, and literally he was giving more or less a small lecture about the heart surgery. Hey, come on, this is... I was thinking he was... No doubt, he has established a very massive hospital in Lucknow, which later on I will come back to you about it later. And mostly it was about it, because in both hands, in one hand it was a different type, scar is deep, other hand, scar is not visible that much. Then I asked Swamiji, he said, two surgeons are two different people, they must have done it. Anyway, then it started. Then only started about his, about their hospital, about what they did and all. No doubt that had seeded into my mind. One day we should visit. Because every time I heard about him, and in the introduction of Swamiji, he was the monument of big, massive hospital in Lucknow, telling about it even without knowing, without seeing, so I should see. It was due. I also prayed to that if everything goes well, I wanted to go to Belur Math. Belur Math, Kashi, and Lucknow. Then we wanted to proceed to Jaipur. Unfortunately, it was actually, we landed to Belur on 11th. The following day happened to be Swami Vedananda's calendar date birthday, not birthday celebration as Bhakti, what we are all celebrating. Oh, what a big crowd. I never expected in Belur, such a big crowd. Despite that, for our accommodation, Swamiji, I informed him and he said, made arrangements. One Gopal Maharaj, I don't know what his name, Swamiji Ramakrishna name, he was the vice president later on, I was told.
Ram Gopal Maharaj.
Ram Gopal Maharaj, sorry Swamiji. Then he made a lot of arrangements, and our movements for transport, everything. And one Narendra Brahmachari was also there, he was also doing. From there we went to Kashi, that's not the point. Then we came to Lucknow. Swami Muktanandaji, Muktinadhanandaji, I don't know whether still he continues, I don't know. Muktinadhanandaji, he was the successor of our Swami Sridharananda. Then we had a very warm welcome and we accommodated there. It absolutely fantastic shrine it was. Then the following day, one Raghu, I don't know his surname, he is a UP man, and strong devotee. Muktinanandaji asked him to escort and take him to that Vivekananda, what is that? Vivekananda Polyclinic Institute of Medical Sciences. Very, very big hospital. Most of you must have seen. So we have seen all these things and we returned. And we were supposed to proceed to Jaipur because of heavy fog and other things, trains were cancelled. That's a different story. So Swamiji, he was very much, he invoked his presence and revoked in that way for the medical, not only in spiritual angle, even the medical sciences also, he extended his support and other things. Then the next one was, few I'm telling you, my association with him started from very much closely, started from 2001, possibly up to 13, 12, not 12, up to 10th or 11th, 1 week earlier, I should say that, prior to his death. In 2014, there was a function at Sydney, the inaugural ceremony of Vivekananda Memorial Community Facility on 4th May 2014. The 3-day function, Swami Sunishtanandaji was the chief organizer on that, and one Gopal was in charge of this cultural program and other thing. And the last day, there was many speakers were there. The speakers are mainly mainly the secretaries of all centers and other dignitaries, of course. I need not say our Suresh ji also was one among them to give. After this everything over, they were all awarded a plaque for their meritorious services for people. So everything finished. After a nice dinner, then I went to Swamiji. Swamiji, I take leave of you. It's a time for me to go already. One more thing I forgot to tell you. He always, for initial days, he used to call me Govindan. Surprisingly, no offense, not to be mistaken, 90% of people, Bengali people, they used to call me Gobindan, not Govindan. No, because they say Vivekananda. I was talking about Siddharthananda ji, our warden, he used to call Govindan only. Anyway, so he used to call me Govindan. Later on, he started calling me Baya. It is going in that way. And after my, bypass surgery and all these things, I used to have pranam, sashtang namaskaram. We believe in southern part of India, we do it. Then I started on no. Then let us have a hug. I was one among the privileged persons, devotees. Whenever we met, we used to have a hugging. I never used to do sashtang pranam to him. So then Swamiji, I am taking leave of you, it's the time for me to go, it's late. No, Bhaiya, wait for it. Then somebody was there, sent for Harshal Maharaj to come. Harshal came, and in their official Ramakrishna language, in Bengali language, Harshal came with a plague, and Swamiji handed over to me. Bhaiya, this is for your continued support and patronage. Then he also said, I thought whether it was right for me to give it to you on the days and the platform when these people were awarded. No, it was announced as the secretaries of all units. There are treasurers of all units are also there. If I say Govindan treasurer, how about the other treasurers? In that way, then I wanted to give you, Swamiji, anything, it's all right. Probably he thought that he should give me that explanation. It was really nice of him. He thought me and did that. Yes, the thoughtful gesture it was. Swamiji, we wanted to have ashram in Melbourne. It started talking from 2003, 2004. Yes, most of you know about Paul Saab, Santosh Kumar Paul, am I right? His full name is. I used to call him Paul Saab. So Paul Saab, myself, and we were running around because we had, others are all, they are all working, so I cannot disturb them. Weekends when it comes, these other committee members are also joined to see various properties. Most importantly, 4 or 5 properties, I personally feel that we have missed it, but Swamiji was the best decision maker. Maybe finance was also at that time, not only at that time, any time we have the problem in finance. 2 churches, one was in Canterbury. That church, very good, big one. Apart from that, this, their priest, they call the pastors, what are they, right? Their accommodation, there was also a building. All of them they wanted to put together for sale. But we have to submit our offer. Unfortunately, we were not successful. Another church was in Springvale Road. It was, of course, not a brick veneer, weatherboard house, but big. Swamiji liked it, everything, but eventually he has to like it. It did not happen. Then in Wellington Road, yes, if you pass across Wellington Road, as you go from this left side, you will find a new fire brigade here. Adjacent to that big land was there. Anyway, like that, so many things filled out. Finally, our Palsa was able to identify number 7, Judy Court. Whenever Swamiji comes, Saturday, visiting, seeing the places, or Saturday, if it's not possible on Friday, we used to go and show it to him. Finally, 2004, we identified the property, number 7 Judy Court. Then we had to move from the place. That's a big story. It will take another 1 hour to talk about those things. Anyway, already Suresh, I am able to understand his mind, already exceeded 5 minutes, he says, 2 more minutes. Then I was asking Swamiji, our belief, whenever we do like, we say Graha Pravesam in Tamil, and housewarming ceremony here they say, right? In our traditional way, we used to do something. How do you do it in Ramakrishna? Because I did not have experience in that way. Wherever I have gone, I have got the finished mutts, finished ashrams, shrines only. Then he said, Bhaiya, what do you... One thing, with our Swamiji, if you ask something, what do you think? He will extract our opinion first before he expresses his opinion. What is your... Swamiji, shall we do it that also? We can do it, Bhaiya. You can organize for this, your way of doing it. Second day we will do this. See, I was thinking whether he would... I did not go with much of anticipation because they have to go according to whatever the procedure Ramakrishna they follow, Ramakrishna Mission follows. Similarly, it happened in 2012 with now current place 5/7, 5-7 Angus Avenue. It was on 23rd and 24th, it was done. We were all really happy. Swamiji was really, when almost that house was finalized, at that time Suresh was in US. So that the agent, his name is one young boy, he is Adam. It has been vacant, and he was very kind enough to hand over the key to me. I said, we have got a group, people have to see it in different days. Normally real estate agents, they would never do it. He handed over the key, but please don't be careful about the key. Don't tell anybody that I have handed it over. So special inspection Swamiji wanted for Suresh to see that. Because final approval, Swamiji thought Suresh has to give. So he has given. Property was bought. Number 7 Judy Court, sorry, I don't want to go there. Okay, sorry, I don't want to go there. So that was done. Swamiji outside bench he used to sit and look at the Dandinav hills. Hey, Bhaiya. So, not only that, Suhitananda Maharaj, am I right, Swamiji? He was the vice president. I am bit, slow in expressing the name on that. I don't want to wrong spell it. See, some of the names, Sridhara, Govinda, Madhava, all these things in our Sandhyavandanam we do it, so those things are very easily memorable also. Anyway, Suhitananda Maharaj is the first visit at that time, number 7 Judy Court. Then his second visit was in Angus Avenue. And Swamiji, both of them, they were sitting and talking. Swamiji sent word for me, then I went there. And our Swamiji wanted me to explain these details, the area, this, and all the surrounding, etc., right? Swamiji was very happy about it. I could see when I find that he was very happy, I was extremely happy to see his happiness. I was really enjoying it. I felt I was really proud. And even that proudness is unfortunately slowly dwindling. That is something different. In that way, Swamiji, we continued all these things. And then again, whenever I visit Sydney, I used to go over there, stay there. It was my last visit was 2021. I had been there. Swamiji always yes, on a monthly basis we have been in contact over phone. When the properties were identified, he explained the properties. He used to give some contact number. In the US, if he goes, there is one lady, Dr. Kala, it's a Bangalorean. She's from Bangalore. So Swamiji passed on her telephone number. Wherever he is in US, my contact will be Kala, Dr. Kala. She in turn talked to Swamiji. The time difference according to that we used to talk to him. Wherever I could not talk to him, I sent it on to him by email. The details of real estate agencies, details, and property details. Inside Australia, of course in Perth, there was one boy, Ashley Mahadev. He was in Perth later on, he came to Melbourne also. Now I think he has gone to New Zealand, I don't know where further. So whenever he was in Perth, he used to ask me to contact through Ashley, and here Harshan Maharaj and again Shiva Maharaj. So that most of them about the properties and details and other things. He was updated about all this information. In that way, continuously I was in contact, even not in person, over phone. After more or less he got settled, he was not able to move around much, over telephone only. Once in a month it was. Again, first it was through Harshal Maharaj, then later on came one Sridhar Maharaj, another person is Kirit. Kirit, of course, he has got his own reasons. I was not successful. But when I met her, specifically in my Sydney, when I met Swamiji, there is a saying in our Tamil, but few people were there also around that. In Tamil we say, Swami varam koduthalum, Poochari varam kodukka maatar. Meaning, God will give you boon, whatever you want. The priest will prevent it. He will obstruct it. Like that, Swamiji, whenever I tried to talk to you, wanted to talk to you, these people object. I told them. Of course, jovially I said that it was not very much offensive. Once after Corona and all these things slowly, our contacts cut off. 2023, our Superdosha. Normally once in a month we used to talk about it. Superdosha Govindan sir, he always gives me sir. Govindan sir, shall we go to Sydney and meet Swamiji? I don't know the month. I'm getting old, memory diminishing, right? Then both of us we went. We stayed for 2 days. He used to tell, below down, all the organs are dysfunctioning. Here, yes, it is strong. Yes, what he said was strong. I believe up to at the age of 95 also he was giving lectures. Not 3 days, one lecture. What a memory power, no books, nothing. Even for a small 10-minute talk, I have to refer the points here. Then I told him, Swamiji, you will eat 100 years, 120 years. What is the Ramanujacharya? Most of you may know Vaishnava. He was the social reformer, philosopher. He lived for 120 years. What they called is Vimshottare Dasha, that is, all the 9 planets complete one cycle, it is 120 years. Normal human being life. Later on I have read people are living over even 130. Authentic report is not there anyway. Swamiji, you will live 120 years. Whenever, all of you know about the experience, not that as a bloody fool I am only fellow telling about it, don't mistake me. Whenever you ask something, if he does not want to answer, he will just smile at you. That smile, does he accept it or reject it? It is left to you to decide. When I told him 120 years, then I said to him, smile like that. Go on. Number 13, especially, I used to travel. I was as a regional manager, I used to travel a lot in southern part of India, not north, because there are 4 regional managers. In the hotels, 5-star hotels also. Room number 13, they don't put it. They will put 12A. I don't know whether they are continuing still, I do not know. 13 seems to be, according to them, I believe it is not a lucky number. Yes, it proved to be like that. On 13th, our Swamiji attained Samadhi. No doubt. Last year, Supardo, around September, October, he was asking, shall we make a trip to Sydney to visit Swamiji? Due to some personal reasons in my family, I explained to him, he understood it, because he is much closer. And he could not know. I missed it. Had I gone, at least I would have. Latest I saw him in 2024, I can claim, which I cannot. It will never happen. It is not going to happen. So 13th, it went off in that way. It is a personal, very personal disappointment for me. Is this memorial meeting, unfortunately, we could not be conducted in Angus Avenue, Ringwood East. The place he loved it. The place he, with great interest, he bought it. Sydney people bought it, I mean, what is they call it, mortal remains. Viewing and all, Sydney people had an opportunity when they had it in ashram. At least this memorial meeting, if we had it here, at least I would have been very happy. Even that, I could not have it. Anyways, however, his life was a testament to his spiritual power, his humility, compassion and dedication. May his memory inspire all of us. Thank you very much. I could see, I could see our Rita ji. Hey, come on, Govindan ji, your watch is. She thinks my watch is running slow, her watch is running fast. So with that, I take leave of it. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Swamiji, thank you very much. Special thanks to you, sir. Hey, I go back.
No, just
How many is there? I'll be here.
why not you sit here?
No. I'll
We learned a lot about the history.
Retired.
Oh, sorry.
I will go there slowly.
Would you like to sit and talk? Are you okay to stand?
Just one. So as you know that our hall booking is has a limited time, so we have to be within that time. So please be very careful about your time. Don't extend too much. How much time it's allotted? 10.
Maximum 7.
7 minutes. 8 minutes.
Sorry,
So-
Swamiji,
No,
I got your message.
for Govindanji, it's different. He's here from the very beginning. He's a very important person for us. So that's why he was given the first speaker. He had the full the scope for speaking, but for others we are just reminding you, just try to be within that time. Yes, yeah, you hold it.
You have to hold it.
Not in this?
No.
Okay.
You want to sit? You can.
It's okay. Okay. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Suresh, for giving me this opportunity. I'm not very good. Is it okay? Okay.
Just take it. I think the battery is down.
Maybe just here.
One more thing.
Okay. That's okay. Okay. Thank you, Swamiji, and thank you, Suresh, for giving me this opportunity to speak to about Reverend Swamiji, who was my guru. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guru Deva Namah. This verse summarizes what Swami Sridharananda ji meant to me. Before meeting Swamiji, a good friend gave me a copy of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. As I started reading it, I got immersed in it and read it continuously, keeping awake for 3 nights. After reading the Holy Gospel, I realized that what I have been searching for, I found in the path to God shown by Sri Ramakrishna. I had never visited any Sri Ramakrishna ashrams in India or elsewhere, and neither had I seen a picture of Sri Ramakrishna. Soon after this, my good friend Aradhana took me to Swami Sridharanandaji's talk on Mundaka Upanishad at a university. His talk was mesmerizing, and I felt an awakening within me to grow spiritually. This was followed by a meeting with him at a friend's house. His gentle, compassionate, and kind behavior with everybody made me feel the presence of Sri Ramakrishna in him. I felt I had found my Guru, and soon I requested him to give me Diksha. At that time, there was no ashram in Melbourne, and also he had to go to Belur Mutt to seek permission to give initiation. So after a few months, when he came back from Belur Mutt, he was allowed to initiate. But Swamiji always took permission from Holy Mother before taking any step. So he told me that after taking permission from Holy Mother, he would consider initiating me. Then Swamiji, after seeking permission from Holy Mother, by her grace, I got Diksha from him. I felt a rebirth within me after he initiated me. Whenever I met him for guidance, I felt transported to a higher realm of peace and bliss. He was a pursuer of excellence and perfection, and he lived each moment doing endless service to the divine while being in complete union with Holy Mother, Guru Maharaj and Swami Vivekananda Ji. He worked as the instrument, and hence he gave us ashrams in each city of Australia, taking all the risk single-handedly. He had a great vision in establishing Ramakrishna Mission in Australia and New Zealand, to uplift humanity to a higher life following Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. He came to Australia when there was no Ramakrishna ashrams at the age of 75, and he worked every moment to establish our centers, which are now flourishing due to his hard work. His favorite words to me were, "Saturate your being with God. Live with God for the sake of serving God by the grace of God." This is what Revered Swami Sridharananda Ji was and still is in spirit. This was not only my impression of him, but wherever I went, in any ashram, whether in Sydney or in India, whoever knew him considered him a divine being, a reflection of Sri Ramakrishna. And he's helped innumerable people from difficult situations
Melbourne were very keen to get an opportunity to learn about the scriptures. In those early days, we used to host Sholil Maharaj. I used to call him Sholil Maharaj, okay, for a talk in our homes and invite our friends over to experience this magic moment of listening to the Swami. On one such occasion, I had invited few of my friends and organized lunch for all. The word spread about Sholil Maharaj's talk in my home, which was jammed with so many friends of friends that there was no room in the home and people were all outside in the balcony and in my lawns and all that. And I didn't know how we could manage, but Thakur was there and everything was organized. The caterers could arrange for the lunch and everything. So his lectures, I'm again going back to how wonderful they were, that people went all out from all over the place coming to attend these lectures. So my mother-in-law and he was here then when he came to my house. He and Sholil Maharaj had the same guru, Virajananda, and they were related as guru, brother and sister. There was a strong bond between the two of them. We regularly started having Sholil Maharaj coming to Melbourne as the president of Vedanta Center of Sydney. On one such occasion, Swamiji expressed a desire to have Bewley dal. And I didn't know what that was. Believe me, I was pretty useless. And he gave me the recipe to prepare the dal. So his knowledge was not confined to scriptures. He had immense culinary skills as well. I was able to learn many specific preparations from him. That's not the only one. His interest in variety of sweets motivated me to learn about how to make the sweets. And then I started making mishti doi, gulab jams, and he was the one who enticed me into learning about all these. Otherwise, I was quite content with doing what I did. Govindan, Suresh and I, we used to form a trio. And we were always planning how to accommodate so many people interested in listening to his lectures. And they were all invaluable lectures. His magnetic presence motivated us to think ways to arrange the lectures in public halls rather than in people's home, because people would all had to stand in the lawns, etc. So we started booking the hall in Holmes Glen TAFE, moving subsequently to Monash University where plenty of parking was available. To defray these expenses, we started fundraising. We were always thinking how we could have an ashram here, and with the current intention of having a Melbourne ashram. Finally, we managed to do that with lots of interest from all of us. Swami Sridharananda often repeated a very profound statement to all of us. He used to say, "We are all children of the divine." This changes the perspective we have towards our fellow beings. May Thakur bless Swami Sridharananda and take him in his arms. We shall always miss his presence in our midst. May he be one with the divine. And now Shabrotavuta. I had Uluma, she gave me something,
Yes,
which I will read if you want afterwards. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I get a little bonus time by the grace of my good lady wife. Everyone here is essentially talking about Swamiji, about his greatness. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about my stupidity and how he helped me to overcome it and lifted me out of that stupidity. This is a confession, not a recollection. He was known to us, I'm talking about the first meeting we had with him, he was known to us as Sholil Maharaj, as Nadita said. He came to Melbourne, as she said, as a guest of Swami Damodarananda. Damodarananda was the head of the Fiji Center of the Ramakrishna Mission. So we attended a meeting in the Moorabbin Town Hall where Damodaranji introduced Sridharananda, who sat there like a sleeping Buddha. I'm not joking. He sat there with his eyes shut like a sleeping Buddha. And I remember wondering what this monk with his eyes shut could possibly say to us. Then his deep, sonorous voice brought forth, "Dear friends." That was always his start. And I jumped awake, startled out of my dismissive lapse. That was the first lapse, wondering what the hell he's going to talk to us about. His language that I found was so gripping with his extensive vocabulary, his exact grammar, his precise syntax, his clear, faultless delivery. Though the concepts that he enumerated went right over my head, I'm just an engineer, I know nothing about Bengali, Sanskrit or all that stuff, he was speaking from the depths of his heart. And the man was steeped in deep knowledge and vast personal experience of the divine. And I got hooked for life. So that was our first meeting. The second episode I want to talk about is a piece of startling information that he came up with. This was his first visit to our home in the 90s. He walked in, looked up at a wall where 2 framed pictures hung. They're still there. And he asked, "Why is this gentleman's photo in your home?" And upon learning that this was my late dad, his response was, "You are Sushil Babu's son?" I had never shared my parents' names with him, let alone share with him how my father was reverentially addressed by the people whom he loved and who revered him. Sushil Babu. So you are Sushil Babu's son? Couldn't understand. I had never revealed this. He seemed to have, from that point onwards, he revealed an elephantine memory. And over a simple dinner at our home, which was one of many dinners he had with us, he regaled us with stories about how my dad had visited him frequently at the Lucknow Center. Nothing about this. He used to carry office supplies as a small contribution to the operations of the Lucknow Center. Swamiji revealed how he had personally arranged the marriage alliance between Anjali, who was the daughter of the Lucknow-based Mukherjee family, who were very, very close to him, and Subhas. Subhas was my dad's third brother. So Swamiji had actually personally arranged this marriage. None of us knew anything about this. It turned out that he and my ma, as Buddha pointed out, had the same guru, Virajanandaji. So he was actually only 20 months junior to my ma. And the bond with the whole family was absolutely instant. The third episode was how he instructed me to do certain things. I didn't ask for it, he didn't think about it, it just happened. So in 2000 and 2004, that was my final stint in Sydney before I came back to Melbourne. So I used to go to his lectures in Strathfield, and I used to record him on my camcorder, as I'm doing right now, this camcorder there, not this camcorder, another one. And he wondered aloud, this dentist friend of ours is already recording on my talks on cassettes. Why do you bring your camcorder and record on your camcorder? And my response, being an engineer, I said, my video recordings actually captured every gesture and facial expression of his, which anchored to me the live content, the content of his talk, and would preserve it for posterity. I found that priceless. He didn't respond, he did just let go, and he thought nothing of it. One day, he watched on a train trip to Canberra a DVD that I had lent him of one of these recordings. I used to transfer the recordings to DVD and send them to the Sydney Centre. He watched one of these DVDs. He was startled by what a huge difference having that video made. The same talks, same person. Then he instructed, I should record and photograph every Vedanta event that I should attend for archiving purposes. He has departed. I'm still following that instruction faithfully. Camera, video recorder. A final thing I want to touch upon is how he forgave my rude, ignorant behavior. And I'm confessing this. I'm still rude and ignorant, but he's the one who forgave it. This happened at one of the weekly dinners that I was required to attend at the Sydney ashram in Strathfield, usually on a Wednesday. That was the rule. One day in a week, you must come here and have dinner with us. And whatever is cooked, whatever we have, we will share. And there was a gathering of about 6 or 7 people and so forth. Swami Atmishananda, many of you know him, he was Suresh Maharaj to us. He had been a brahmachari at the Bombay ashram. We were born in Bombay when we first met him. He had been pulled to Sydney by Bade Maharaj. We used to call him Bade Maharaj. Bade Maharaj, the name came, I think, in Lucknow, because he was not only a man of very large stature, he was tall and big, but he was also a giant intellectually, spiritually, everything. So Bade Maharaj. So Bade Maharaj had dragged Suresh Maharaj to Sydney. And he was there at every dinner. And my deal with Suresh Maharaj was that I would wash the dishes. I love washing dishes in running very hot water. And Suresh Maharaj first said, no, you are a guest. I said, sorry, this is my job, I'm going to do it. So he agreed. So at one of these dinners, Bade Maharaj says he was intending to acquire a landed building, because we were in a rented place in Strathfield, to house a Sydney centre, to be owned by the Ramakrishna Mission. The cost estimate was something like $800,000, colossal amount of money. This is 25 years ago nearly, which was to be financed by a bank loan. I was shocked out of my wits by his daring approach. I asked him two questions. Now I wonder how I could have been so stupid. I asked him two questions at the dinner table. I said, one, with your zero financial muscle and your zero financial history, why would any bank loan you this colossal amount of money? And number two, assume that you got this loan from some bank. How the devil do you propose to pay it off? $800,000, you have no finances. He just simply, that benign smile that you see in the photograph, he just smiled. And I'll say it Bengali first. Hare, আমি তো আমার নিজের কাজ কিছু করছি না, আমি ঠাকুরের কাজ করছি, which translates loosely to, my dear boy, I am not doing this for personal gain or glory. This work is for Thakur, which is the master. If he so wishes, it will eventuate. If he does not wish it, I shall learn something anyway, and nothing is lost by trying. I shook my head at that time silently in disbelief. So this man is stark, raving mad. This is Australia, it's not Lucknow. Whatever he is on Lucknow is fantastic. He knew Atal Bihari Vajpayee, but this is Sydney. How wrong I was. This is evidence right in front of us. 1/4 century of devoted work in Australia, all over the country. Ineffable, persuasive charm, nobody could resist him. Unshakable faith, far-sighted vision, magnetic personality. This divine man of the cloth had all of this, and he was surely, in my belief, handcrafted by the Lord in the Lord's spare time, not a production run like I am, mass-produced production run. So having him in our life was a privilege and a blessing. All I can say is, Vale Revered Swami Maharaj, rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Many things we did not know, now we know. Swami Sridharananda ji, our Salil Maharaj, as we saw him. I am Gopinath Chattopadhyay, humble initiated member. My wife Kakoli was initiated by Swami Viresarananda ji Maharaj. Elder daughter Mimi was initiated by Swami Ranganathananda ji Maharaj, and younger daughter Silpi was kindly initiated by Swami Sridharananda ji Maharaj. My association with Ramakrishna Mission became closer after initiation by Swami Damodarananda ji Maharaj, who introduced me to Swami Sridharananda ji Maharaj in 1998, when he came to Brisbane and delivered an excellent public lecture in the University of Queensland. I was fortunate to be the part of that organization. I had privilege to pick him up and drop to Brisbane Airport when he used to come to Brisbane, since permanently he came to Australia in 2020. We were also fortunate to have him in our Kenmore house in Brisbane from time to time before he moved to Gladstone. He used to tell, we need to be a better human being, and used to stress that again and again in every occasion. Other points he used to tell are full surrender. to divine power. Whatever we do as service to God. I forgot many things, but these things I remember and thank that he told again and again. He also used to talk about 3 types of sevaks. One who forgets and needs to be told again and again what needs to be done, Adham Sevak. The bad one. I might be in that category. But I used to ask some silly questions. Initially, you know what prize you can get, but then he used to explain those things. Every time he used to ask me leaving early to reach airport early. As usual, Adam Sevak, I used to tell and argue, why Maharaj so early? He explained, devotees covered my flights and I have to request them or they have to pay again for buying another ticket. That is neither fair for them and nor good for me to have the stress. I can reach early and do japas. Whatever I tell, you just do it. So, we are frightened, but sometimes, we are frightened, but we are more attracted. Madhyam Sevaks are efficient, they can do service, does well, however, needs to be asked for the seva. And Uttam Sevak does seva what is needed and is ready before even asked. He told he was that to his guru. He was a perfectionist and wanted nothing but 100% from all of us. He had another thing which is mono bachon ekadhar. He used to tell what he meant, liked and did not like clearly. No confusion. In one occasion, he had to take lunch and rest before lecture and told Kakoli, my wife, please do not try to torture me with kindness. Just little bit of muri, puffed rice and motorshuti, green peas, that's all I need. I was afraid of him for asking any silly questions or not following his instructions to the nano tolerance. The conclusion was just do what he asked, and he was extremely happy and told that story on various occasions. We remember his kindness very much. In one occasion, I could not see him and listen his lecture. Kakali, my wife, and our younger daughter Silpi were overseas. Our elder daughter Mimi had some work. We had some time to go but could not go. And he felt this guy hasn't come. Okay? So he had some time before going to airport and told one of the devotees, his name was Mr. Manav Kar, and without any notice and pleasant surprise, they were in our house. It was really pleasant surprise, but I was embarrassed and then he told with his graciously cheeky smile, all devotees came to see me, and today I have come to see a devotee who did not have time to see me. See, that is something which is, he was very clear. I told it might be due to my punna from past lives, Maharaj. That's why that has come today, the blessings, and you have come. It's a pleasant surprise. I did not realize it was a loose ball. And immediately he sent it to the boundary, a clear 6. He put it outside the boundary, telling that it is true. It is true, you did something in the past life and I might have come for that. However, you need to do in this life too, to realize what it is. Tat Tamasi, you are that. I was off guard and told, I'll try, Maharaj. He told, just try, that's nothing. You need to remember, Sharanam, Sravanam, Mananam, Nidyasanam. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, and he did not like wrong pronunciation, so please forgive me for that. Listening, reflection, and absorption. He was a realized soul. I do not know whether you remember that 2020 when he came to one of the functions in Melbourne, the first time he told, I realized. I noted that. If you check that video, he was humble. He never talked about himself. He used to talk about Trinity, Thakur, especially Mother, and Swamiji. About the well-being of the devotees, Atma Mokshatam and Jagat Hitayacha. Since COVID, we had few interactions, mainly due to this time we could not go to Sydney. Sometimes he was traveling and there was restrictions time to time for his public appearance due to health issues. And we were fortunate in November 2025, we visited Sydney Ashram. Kirti Bhai organized a little bit of time. And I was not sure whether he still remembered. I was so silly. I asked him, Maharaj, do you remember? And another, scolding came. And a smile, as usual. He told, how can I forget my friend? So, he told, I remember you from the day one I came to Brisbane. So that puts lots of responsibility. And I prayed that we can keep up to him. I was also fortunate to have a last photo with family. And then I was waiting there. And he was asking why you were waiting there. And when all these devotees left, I told, can I tell you how you are to me? He smiled, Kirti Bhai also kindly allowed, and I want to repeat that to you all, what I said there. Tameva mata, pitastameva, tameva bandhu sakastameva, tameva viddang davidang tameva sarvam namo deva devi. So thank you, Maharaj, for bearing all these silly things what we have done and we have not followed. And we pray that we can remember those words and try to become better human being. Jai Thakur. Namaskar.
Pranam Swamiji. We met Poro Swamiji in early 2000. In 91, Molly and I had taken Diksha from Swami Sridharananda here in Melbourne. Growing up in Australia, I had really no idea what Diksha was. I also had no concept of Vedanta philosophy. Life following Diksha went on as usual. In 2001, Boris Swamiji came to Melbourne and gave lectures once a month. I attended the lectures at Monash and Holmesglen whenever I was able. I remember that long after each lecture, there was always one central concept that lingered in my mind. One of those was that with the saturation of the divine, a gradual transformation of the personality comes about. It was a powerful idea, and one filled with hope and all kinds of possibilities. Over the years, I personally witnessed Boris Swamiji giving bhaktas in crisis courage, guidance, and support. The sheer strength of his personality transformed so many lives. I'm thankful that my own parents were fortunate to receive Diksha from Boris Swamiji. When my cat Zachary passed away, I was distraught. I asked Boris Swamiji if I should have a sadhya for him. With a straight face, full of compassion, he replied that it was not necessary, though he felt that over the years, Zachary had indeed become humanized. That was all I needed. Boris Swamiji's passing is a great loss to us all. Today, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for all that he has imparted. His dynamic and compassionate personality will forever remain etched in our hearts. Our pranams to you, Swamiji. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you for the privilege for allowing me to speak today. Thank you, Suresh. And thank you, everybody out here. I would like to change the tone of this discourse from a somber one to one of love. Because when I think of Boris Swamiji, I just think of love, pure love. He transforms life. And as Aradhana said, it is, and Swamiji often gives this example when he speaks to us, Swami Sridharananda ji. It's like dewdrops on a cold day. They drop slowly on us till they drench us and they fill us with that presence. And to me, I'm here talking to you, thinking about my memories of him as an expression of joy. So I'll go back to my written stuff, so at least I can cover some stuff without going all over. So this is a heartfelt reflection on my experiences and memories with Swami Sridharananda ji, or Boro Maharaj as I used to call him. I will try to capture the essence of my spiritual beginnings and the sense of community that blossomed in Melbourne in particular since his arrival in the 2000s. Till then, I was a very commercial man with my engineering and management degrees, and I was there. Okay. And it serves for me as a personal record of moments, people, and lessons that have shaped my journey, providing an insight to profound impact of these experiences Swamiji had on my life. One of my fondest memories of Boris Swamiji was when he used stories to explain the nature of love and devotion. I can see a few smiles. Every story, if we think back, talks about love and devotion and the power of divine love. He would exhort us to hold the divine always close to our hearts with what he talked about, every moment awareness. And we are very grateful that Swami Sridharananda ji, when he talks to us, also reminds of that every time. Not bombastic words, but humility in our hearts. He used the term my dear in many ways. Again, a few nods. To me, the particular one was sometimes when he was talking to you, I was standing and you sit down and he would hold my hand in his hands. And there was so much kindness. And at the time of Dikha, as Aradhana mentioned, what I felt was a power transfer from my Guru to me and Aradhana. We are very fortunate. That was 1991 and my mother had just passed at that time. I was distraught. Every time he held my hands and said, my dear, and looked up and smiled for a moment. And one time he just kept silent for 10 minutes, just holding my hand. And I could feel the same energy transfer. It is just the blessing. It is just a kindness. And I'm very grateful that it was happening. This gentle reminder inspired me to cultivate a deeper sense of love and connection, not only with Bora Swamiji and the Divine, but with everyone I encounter in my journey. Sometimes there are some very bad things, people do very nasty things, and he has given me the power not to retaliate back, not to say a single nasty thing to anybody. Let it go. Good things will happen with his blessing and Thakur's blessings and Swami Sridharanandaji's blessing. So his words continue to echo in my mind, guiding me towards kindness and compassion each day with every person I meet. I don't think I'm as successful in what he wants us to do, but I really try very hard. He had a towering presence. I heard his lectures initially in the 90s, as Nandita was talking about. He had a towering presence. Being in his presence was like, I can't explain it, but you could feel it. We are very fortunate. He was based in Sydney's, and we heard his lectures during the monthly visits. It started building a body of knowledge in me about the Vedanta philosophy and structures, and what the puja and the ritualistic puja that I did for a very long time did for me. Because when I was doing the pujas, I felt I was pouring my heart out to the Divine, who I was building, transferring to the devotees who had arranged the puja. So it was not for me, not for whatever puja I was doing, but it was for the Divine. Over time, it started impact me as a person and how I thought about life, relationships, and purpose. What is my purpose? If somebody writes nasty things about me, is my purpose to go and say nasty things about them? No. My purpose is to quietly move away and know that there is somebody always looking after me. It developed in me a greater understanding of the Trinity. Through the years, I was not in touch with him as much as some others have done, but I always felt his blessing was there. And most importantly, it developed in me a very powerful whisper which is always speaking, which is not to be shaped by ego. And Swamiji also, Sridharananda also uses the term often which he used to say, Ami jabe jokhon, when you lose your sense of ego and importance. So, I was also very fortunate that during the mid-2000s, I was spending a lot of time in Sydney and I was spending there 2 or 3 days every week. And as I think Shubrata said, I used to also land up there every Wednesday, and there was Suresh Maharaj there, a few people, and it was the Ashfield Ashram, and it was just divine. I used to listen to his lectures during the evening, and then we would go and have a meal. Very simple meal. We didn't have very structured people. There was no routine, but there would always be so much food and so much love. With his arrival, the nascent Vedanta movement, just some time shifting here, which was nurtured by Dr. Tapesh Gangopadhyay, as Govindanji mentioned, slowly took deep roots. With his encouragement, 2003, I think, we wrote and did a play about the 3 stages of Swami Thakur Sri Ramakrishna's life. And I think there must be 25 or 30 young kids, all their parents are here. I think most of their parents are here. So I see some nods, who participated. And it was amazing. It was in the Oakley Ashram. He guided us, as did Suresh Maharaj. And there were 300 people out there. And I remember Shubhrata painstakingly, with so many kids. And it was quite an interesting play. He recorded everybody's voice, he recorded the music. So on the day, like when you're doing a live play, you never know what is going to happen. But everything went like clockwork, and the mothers got all those kids. They were dressed up in monastic clothes, and we had a formation at the very end. And I think, if I remember correctly, the age group was from 4 to 18, with Sudesh, your son, was probably the eldest of them all. So now all of them, fortunately, have their own children. And interesting is when you see them, they always say, "Uncle," and they remember the time that they had. So quite interesting. Over time, Melbourne's first ashram was acquired through his guidance, and obviously with Govindanji, Suresh, and various other people. And I would remember Mr. Shantosh Pal and his wife, who really moved next to the ashram. They were there. They set it up. But for me, it was every Friday. From that time, the ashram was set up. I had a date at the ashram. I would take some food, whatever food we could. There were not many people staying there. And you'd sit out there, play the Sandha Arati, and you got lost in another world. We had Shiva Maharaj and Harshal Maharaj. We have to be careful to treat them respectfully, because they were students then and they were staying there at that time. So it was an amazing, again, blessing of Boroswamiji that both of them have now become monks. And given that they are from our community, they understand what needs to be done, which is not often easy for monks from India coming out here. During this period, again going back to something Aradhana mentioned, Aradhana's parents moved to Melbourne in 2006. So they were always very dear to him, and I had the opportunity a few times to drive them to Geelong and back, and he just spoke as I was driving. And it was an experience, I cannot describe the experience, because it's a 1.5 hour drive. It is just pure, you're just in pure joy, pure peace. Now, when the ashram moved to the bigger premise in 2012 or 2012, we all felt that we needed a resident monk, because everything was there. It's such a beautiful ashram, such a beautiful place to worship, but we are lacking a monk. I was still doing my Friday routines no matter what I was there, but it was not enough. So we are fortunate that he arranged for Kamalesh Maharaj to come here as the first monk, and he was there for about a year or so, which was again a time of great joy. And then we again had a period since in 2017 Swami Sridharananda ji came, and in all through I could sense his blessings running all through. Swami Sridharananda ji's coming was a very happy and exciting time for all of us. And Boroswami ji exhorted us, and some of us will remember, to make sure that Sridharananda ji was taken care of, made to feel at home, look after him, be there, go there. Don't forget, you've been shouting for Swamiji, but don't just forget that he is here and leave him alone. So we bothered him a lot. Anyway, but Swami Sridharananda ji brought another level of blessings to realize what Bora Swamiji had started. The first year that he was here, we did a huge play called Making of Nivedita, and I can see a few nods, and it was amazing. I mean, there were 52 odd people. In everything that Swamiji and Thakur have been talking about, we did. We infused music from different traditions, from pop, the Josh Groban, if you know Josh Groban as a pop singer, to classical music, semi-classical ragas with different dance styles, and all the kids did such a marvelous job. It was written by Swami Sridharananda ji, and many of you may not know it. He's a great playwright as well. So, and it was such a energy, and it was all his blessings. He brought some international guests there, and in the end, we collected almost $115,000 for our ashram. So this is the power of the man and his blessings. It worked like those dewdrops that slowly fall. So reflecting now, Bora Swamiji's blessing and guidance has touched me and my wife Aradhana very deeply. And before I finish up, I had another connection which I must mention. My maternal uncle, General Dr. Harshadev Mukherjee, was the general in charge of the medical corps in Lucknow, and he was very close to Swamiji, and I think Swami Sridharananda ji will remember him well. So he retired in Lucknow and worked for many, many years to help set up that ashram, to set up that hospital, which was a very big hospital and very modern in those days, and also run it for Bora Swamiji. Now, around 2000, he fell very sick. He had cancer. So here is the man, he was so very busy, but even when he came to Australia after that, he was there for him and the family. And he lived for almost 22 years after that. And Bora Swamiji was by their side. My Maima, his wife, they had 2 young daughters, who are not young anymore. And from Lucknow to Mumbai to Bangalore hospitals, he was there with resources, connections, money. And I think the way the family, and through them, I think of Bora Swamiji is again just 2 words: love and gratefulness. Just think of a person who, in spite of all the things that were happening with him in Australia, with all the centers he has set up, he is taking care of somebody who had helped him in Lucknow. So that's it. I think my wife and I have been truly blessed by Bora Swamiji. It's like a shield that surrounds me with the Trinity's blessings. I was again very fortunate that Swami Sridharananda ji arranged for me to stay for a night in Sydney for a night, and I really wanted to meet him. Initially, it looked like it would not be possible because of my schedule, etc. Then Swamiji said, "Na, Moli esche." Sorry, I was speaking Bengali for a moment. "Moli esche ekbar dekha korte hobe na. He has come. I'll meet him once." So he sat across a window and allowed me to take some pictures which he circulated. And he said something which will remain with me. I asked, "How are you, Swamiji?" He said, "From my neck down, nothing works. From my neck up, I am as before, even better." So I feel the Vedanta movement in Australia and for us in Melbourne. We are just so very fortunate to be blessed by this great person. Thank you, Swami.
Pranam Swamiji. Thank you, Sureshana. Swami Sridharananda to me personified the presence of my Ishta, the Holy Mother. What I mean by that is that with Swamiji's grace, I feel like I've been able to connect with the Mother in a tangible way. Swamiji explained an experience from my past life that caused me to feel so drawn to the Mother. On his Japamala, he had a locket with a lock of the Mother's hair. When he had stayed at my home in Christchurch, he placed the mala on my shrine for 3 days and said, "There, now the Mother's presence is with you in your shrine." The first time that I met Swamiji was around October 2004. His first discourse at Christchurch was at our house, and the topic was sadhana. Now, while I had the blessing to have been associated with the Ramakrishna mission since my childhood, and I had received mantra diksha from Revered Swami Bhuteshananji in 1990, I feel that my journey as a conscious sadhak started that day with Swamiji's talk. I burst into tears after his talk with a huge regret that I had wasted my life. He gently told me to start in earnest, and since then every moment spent in Swamiji's presence has been a learning experience. Every word that he uttered had a lesson. His lessons have guided me in every aspect of my life, be it yoga, sadhana, parenting, professional work, financial management, cooking, the number of recipes he's given us. The beauty was that Swamiji blended the teaching of deep truths with an unconditional love of a parent and a dear friend, and combined with a wonderful sense of humor. I feel like he observed everything, where he knew me through and through, and he knew what was going to happen in my life even before I did. I would like to share 3 incidents that remind me that we were so blessed to know a great soul who was so joyful and playful. So once I was serving Swamiji tea at the dining table. This was at Judy Court, and my son Rohan was about 6 or 7 years old, and Rohan was sitting at the table across from Swamiji, and suddenly I saw a cheeky look on Rohan's face, and I could see Swamiji chuckling. So something was wrong. Swamiji warned me, saying, now, don't react. I realized that Swamiji and Rohan were bicycle pedaling with their feet under the table. I was about to shout at Rohan, but no, that didn't happen. Another time I was going to cut mangoes for Swamiji's lunch, and he called my younger son Vaibhav and taught him how to eat a mango, how a mango should be eaten perfectly and without being cut up. He showed him how to suck all the juice, complete with licking the juice dripping down the fingers. And then they had a competition to see who could get the seed completely white without leaving a spot of mango pulp. And that was his lesson in aiming for perfection in every task. The final incident that I would like to share is from the time when we had briefly conducted a Bala Sangha class at the Judy Court ashram. This is when my kids were very little. At the conclusion of the term, we had asked Swamiji if he would meet with the children for a brief chat. Swamiji was initially reluctant, as he said that he wasn't sure about a topic that he could discuss with a group of small children in the 5 to 10-year-old age group. We said that we could give the children an opportunity to ask him questions, and he agreed. So there was a 5-year-old boy, Arjun, who piped up with a question. He'd been quiet for most of the classes, and Arjun asked him, "Everybody talks about God, but what is God? Have you seen God?" Swamiji said, "Yes, I have seen God. God is in everyone and everything." Then Arjun asked, "In this table," we were sitting at the dining table, "this table, this chair?" Swamiji said, "Yes." Then Arjun said, "But I can't see God." Swamiji said, "You can see God too, if you train yourself to be able to see God." Arjun seemed very satisfied with the answer, but all the adults in the room were stunned with that exchange. We were so fortunate to have had a chance to meet Swamiji in this lifetime. I would like to thank my Holy Mother. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagatgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu.
Pranam. Namaskar, everyone. I'll get on with it. I started visiting Melbourne Ashram late in 2012 when Kamlesh Maharaj was the resident monk. And as you all know, he loved the outdoors and had lots of projects going. And the projects were, endless. We had working bee, building new garden bed in rain. If Viren is there, he would remember, people were holding, it was pouring down like anything, but the work used to go on, we never used to stop. I also remember, using the wheelbarrow to move the brick from one end of the ashram to up the hill to lay the foundation for the water tanks, which we had installed later on. Rendering pergola wall, again, bitterly cold, and, we would be using our hands and gloves, trying to prepare the wall for one of the event. So, as a result, quite of my weekends, they were spent at ashram. And that gave me a bit of an idea what to expect from a monk from Ramakrishna order. They are not like a traditional ones, who will just be confined to puja and the spiritual things. They work around the clock and try to spiritualize each and everything that they do. Kamlesh Maharaj did mention about Bade Maharaj and the Gita class which was going on, but I thought just one Maharaj is enough for me. With a young family, I don't think I can handle Bade Maharaj. But life had some other plans. Once while talking to Niren Pilaka, late night, just outside the ashram main door, Naren mentioned few things about Bade Maharaj, which roused my interest. It was late night, so on my return to home, I googled Swami Sridharananda and started watching his video reminiscing of his Guru Virajanandji. I watched, unable to stop, and finished long past midnight, realizing what a terrible idiot I was. Ever since that day, I didn't want to lose any opportunity to be with him, whether it was Gita class, retreats, or even airport drop-offs that we had. And thanks to Sureshji for those. I would finish my work and drive straight to ashram. Often I would see him on his chair outside near the lions overlooking Dandenong ranges. He was so fond of avocado, since we were talking about mangoes. He was so fond of avocados and cruskets, he would be, and often I would see him, and he would have demonstrated, and I'm sure, he would have demonstrated proper technique of cutting the avo to most of you present. It had to be in a particular way, twist it, and then, you scoop it out. And what a treat it was. I still remember dinners after Gita class at the ashram, the never-ending spread of homemade delicacies, lovingly prepared and brought by mothers, placing on the big table. And when each one would try to insist Maharaj on trying the dish that they prepared. His frequent remarks still rings in my ear. Oh, mothers can kill with their kindness. Much later, just before he was retiring to his room at night, I did bring up that I saw his reminiscence about his guru. He wasn't pleased that such an intimate session to a close audience was posted online. But with a mischievous smile said, Rishi, let me tell you one incident that's not in the video. His guru, Swami Virajanandji, being president of the order, would give darshan to the devotees at Belur Math. On one occasion, there was a long queue, and being president, Maharaj Sevak, he was standing near him. In the queue was Sridharanandaji's own mother with a big tray of offering. When she came in the front, she was pushed from behind and almost fell on the President Maharaj. Bade Maharaj had to intervene and scolded her. Virajanandji admonished his sevak, saying, Shalil, how can you talk to your mother so rudely? Maharaj replied, I am here as your sevak and my duty is to protect you. I don't care if I had to go to hell doing that. Vridanandji was extremely pleased and blessed him. There was one thing that probably you won't find in the video. Everyone knew how lovely his hands were. His ways of showering affection was ruffling your hair and then holding your hand warmly and tightly while conversing. And at the end of the conversation, he would shake it and let go. Well, his feet were equally adorable. I felt truly fortunate when he asked me as a personal service to help him to put his socks. His feet were incredibly soft and gentle, and what stood out most was that he remembered the devotee who had gifted him those special socks from Japan. He was very particular and precise, I don't have to tell that, about how he wanted me to put them on. During my recent trip to Sydney, Shiva Maharaj shared a similar experience, recalling how Bade Maharaj would gently sigh if even the zip of his clothing was handled carelessly. He would always remember the devotee who had gifted it and would pray for them unfailingly each time he used it. Coming back to spending as much time with him. Finally, about the airport trip flying back to Sydney. I would often stay back at ashram on Saturdays in case Maharaj needed anything. On one occasion when he had overslept, I had to knock on his door, but otherwise he would always be impeccably punctual. Sureshji would arrive exactly at 4:45 for around 6:45 flight. On the way to the airport, our conversation would range widely from politics, cricket, to clearing any doubts about the Gita lessons. At the time, his constant concern was how Sydney ashram was still financially supporting the Melbourne ashram. So that used to be a regular topic which used to come up. Most importantly, he would always inquire about the well-beings of the devotees who were not present or whom he had not been able to meet during that trip. Again, which was touched upon previously. At times, he would reminisce about his earlier days and ask if we could schedule an after-dinner session for him to share his memories. Sadly, that never came to pass, as he was extremely fatigued by frequent travels in his 90s. At the airport, we would arrange a wheelchair and escort him to the departure gate. Once he was ready to board, we would offer our final pranams and he would bless us, waving goodbye with great affection. After he landed safely in Sydney, both Sureshji and I would receive a call from him, again showering his blessing and thanking us profusely. I feel even now Bade Maharaj has taken flight, but this time not to Sydney, but straight to his Ishta, Holy Mother. I'm sure he is eternally blessing all of us. Thank you.
Namaskar, Swamiji, and dear devotees, I would like to narrate a few memorable events encounter to be most respected and beloved Swamiji. We first met him in April 2001, and his first lecture was Bhagavad Gita chapter 12 on the 10th of April, and 4 days in a row he got various topics, and from then I'm very much interested his lecture, very fond of his lecture, and end of the lecture he visited devotees to have dinner, and one night we are fortunate to offer him dinner at our place. And I find out he is very much interested in and fond of authentic Bengali dishes, particularly lauki, the lau shak and pushak, yeah. and I cooked for him, and he said, he gave me the recipe actually. He said he can eat just one curry, that lauki and posto and mustard oil. He can finish his meal out of it. And after that, I offer him in Rosgolla. And we know that he got a bit of restriction in food. And he looked at the Rosgolla. And I realized that it's all floating in syrup. I said to him, Swamiji, squeeze the syrup, and in Bengali I said, Rosta chipe keneven. And he looked at me and said, you know what he said in Bengali? Are Rosogula khawatali mane ki hulo? Ami jodi rosguli chipe pheli. In English, he mean that means, there's no point to eat Rosogula without syrup. And he loves gardening. That's the way we got a very close connection with Ajit. And because he loves gardening, when he was in Lucknow, he talked lots of things about gardening, homegrown vegetables, authentic cooking, organic vegetables. So Ajit decided to grow as much as possible at his garden, all the home tropical and Asian vegetables like corolla, pushak, and all that. Yeah. Yeah, and in the meantime, he always say after Ringwood, to buy the ashram, he liked fundraising and all that. And Ajit was away at that time, but we got a lot of vegetables growing at the backyard. So I got an idea. I said I was going to sell all these vegetables for ashram for fundraising. And one lecture, Friday night, I think, Mohan used to have a little book sale, and then I pack up boot full of lauki and all the shag and all that. I took it to lecture room, and then I set it up. And then he saw it. He said, "What's all that?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to sell all that because in this country, people sell these things for church, schools, fundraising." He said, "It's a very good idea." "What is that?" He says, "Chili, packet of chili, $2. He grabbed it and put it in the bag, and he just walked away a couple of steps. I said, "He's not paying." He turned around and said, "Tui diye de." And talking about mango tree, we went to Sydney Ashram in 2019, September. And we are very lucky, very fortunate to get blessing from him. We are sitting in his room. Through his window, he showed me the mango tree. It's a calypso mango tree, little mangoes hanging. He said, "Dekishis, that's a little mango. In end of November or end of December, the mango is ready to eat. Tu chole as am khabi amar kache." I said, "Okay." And then COVID start. No, we can't go and see him for several years. And we stay, I think, one night. No, we didn't stay. We took our grandchild and my son for his business. We went to see him, and we have a lot of talk about religious and talking about growing trees. And he wants he wants, most of them discuss about trees with Ajit, and he wants to put a Panchavati, 5 auspicious trees in front of the Sydney ashram, and also eventually one put in Ringwood ashram. Yeah. And then 2024 November, we took our granddaughter to get the blessing from him, and he was very happy, interact with her very nicely. Not only that, he always tried to help a lot of kids, get good education, good future. And when my elder son was a medical student, he went to volunteer in Kolkata a few months under Italian Medical Association. And then he's interested to learn Sanskrit, and Swamiji organized to learn Sanskrit at Gold Park. When he first arrived Australia, after quite some time in June, it was very cold, but he still managed to come to Melbourne to deliver lectures. And then I knitted a pair of woolen socks for him to keep him warm. That was on Friday night, and Saturday morning he said, I have a very good night's sleep. The socks keep me warm. I said to him, okay, I will knit a pair of beanie for you. He said, Dotkan nahi, amar eki matha gorom. So, Dotkan nahi. Okay, I won't do it for you. Yeah. In 2025, early last year, end of January, we went to see him again. We stayed one night with him. That's the last time we saw him. And I always try to cook something for him. He said, and then, before that, one time we traveled on a plane. I got hand luggage full of shag and all the thing I carry, At the security checkout, the girl was looking at my face. I thought, what is going on? I don't know, this lady, getting all that vegetable. Anyway, 2025, early 2025, when we went there, I cooked. He liked to have pita. I cooked pita for him. And then the lauki, the leaf, mashed it up and with custard, mustard oil and posto. Yeah. He enjoyed it. Swamiji always want us to stay in Sydney. He always said, always ask us. It's very, it's hard for us. Yeah, anyway, just before we leave on 2025, he just hold my hand and said, Melbourne bhalo na lagle, baper bari chole ash. I have a really bad feeling. I know that it will never happen. Thank you. Remembrance of Krishna.
Good afternoon, and thank you.
Take the mic.
Thank you, Swamiji and Suresh, for allowing me. Is it on?
Yeah.
In the year 2000, about a week prior to us migrating from South Africa to Australia, we visited Swami Sridharananda to receive his blessings. That's in the Durban ashram in South Africa. He told us that we are going to Australia at the right time, as a very senior Swami from Lucknow was going to take charge of the Ramakrishna mission in Australia. He mentioned, this Swami is a spiritual giant. He then said, I have a mission for you. I want you to organize for Swami Sridharananda ji to visit Durban. Our first meeting with Swamiji in Australia was at a hall in Mulgrave where he gave a talk on the Bhagavad Gita. We were blessed and honored to have him visit our home in Waverly to have lunch together. He spent a lot of time with our kids. Each time Rita and I met Swamiji, he always will inquire, how are my children? At one of his lectures at Monash University, my daughter Rosita, who was about 8 or 9 years old at the time, attended. And during the lecture, she spent time sketching. At the end of the lecture, Swamiji asked her, what was she busy sketching? She handed over the sketch to him. It was a sketch of Swamiji. Swamiji was so impressed that she got some of the fine details of his face and signed the sketch. I brought that over. This is a treasured memory for us. And so this is what she has done. And although she was sketching, she was paying careful attention to his presentation. And on the sketch, she wrote certain words about Swamiji. Blissful, pure, quiet, calm, always smiling, and talks with expression. I'm sure you'll agree with that. So, at the end of 2002, we drove to Sydney to spend 3 days at the ashram in Ashfield. On arrival at Sydney ashram, Swamiji, adorned with an apron, greeted us with such joy, so much like the depiction of Holy Mother and her love to devotees. One amusing moment when Yashil, my son, who is the younger one, and we were all seated at the dinner table and waiting for Swami Damodarananda ji to take his seat. But Yashil decided to tuck into the meal. And Swami Sridharananda ji lovingly told Yashil, we do not eat until the senior Swami eats first. And Yashil was sheepish. In one of our meetings with Swamiji, we told him of the mission Swami Sridharananda placed upon us. Around mid-2003, Swamiji did visit South Africa. And when he returned, he was glowing about the management of the ashram and the large gatherings at the satsang. A devotee from Durban also told us that Swamiji loved going to the seaside just to gaze into the ocean. At the end of 2003, we visited Belurmat, and Swamiji was instrumental in planning our itinerary, which included a stay at Kamarpukur, Jairambati, and a train trip to stay in Bhubaneswar and Puri. On our return to Belurmat, we met Swamiji, and he told us he was about to go into a meeting to discuss getting the Durban ashram officially affiliated to Belur Math. In 2007, the Durban ashram was officially linked to Belur Math. On a few of Swamiji's visits to Melbourne, I was privileged to pick him up and drop him off at the airport. Once at our home in Roval, Swamiji shared a vision he had for a newsletter, and when we asked him what should we title it, he promptly replied, "Reach," symbolic of reaching out to the hearts and minds of its audience. Swamiji also edited articles advising us that reach must only be about the Holy Trinity, not about him or his lectures. Swamiji embodied every value and virtue of our scriptures, which he so kindly taught us about. He was a very wise soul with a gentle disposition that made any person feel safe and loved in his company. Hari Om.
May I request Reverend Helen Summers to please say some few words?
This is a very short little recollection of Swamiji because I haven't prepared anything in advance. But I first met Swami Sridharananda in Sydney, I think it was 1998, and I seem to remember that it was an office building in Sydney. I can't quite remember where it was. But I had returned from New York, where I had been a student at the Ramakrishna Vivekananda Centre for 6 years. And I very much wanted to continue when I came back to Australia. And so Melbourne was my hometown, and I was only in Sydney for a visit. But when I came back here, I then discovered that Swamiji did come to Monash University and then Holmes Glen, and when I could, I would attend his lectures. At the same time, I was setting up the Interfaith Centre of Melbourne, and so my time was spent in many different directions. But I would talk with Swamiji sometimes briefly after the lectures, or a little longer somewhere else, and what always impressed me was his presence. He was an example of connecting with the divine. And I remember him also saying that he must have done something good in his past life because he was living in Australia. He was very, very grateful to be here too. And so from time to time I would attend his lectures, and I would be reinforced by the teachings that we are all children of God. And sometimes that's very hard to take in, not only for ourselves, but for some people who we find very challenging. And I think his teachings and the memories that we have of him are so important right at this time, not only in Australia, but in the world. And when I saw the announcement online that there was going to be this memorial for Swamiji this morning, and I saw the photograph and I thought, that is the perfect photograph of Swamiji. And when I came in this morning and saw it, automatically when you see it, it lights up something within you and you start smiling too. So I remember him for the joy that he had within him and that he was able to express with us. And I thank him for his presence and his beautiful handshakes that several people have mentioned. His lovely, gentle, and as I remember them, I can feel them. So his presence is still here. Thank you very much.
As you all heard, Reverend Swamiji came to Melbourne and his first public talks was in 2001 in April. And at that time we arranged a week-long talks on Bhagavad Gita. Just before his coming, I called him on the phone and requested him to formally come to Melbourne. And he asked, where shall I stay? And I said, you're staying at my place. Then he gave me the very first instructions. Nothing in your household should change. Nothing of your activities should change. You just give me a bed for me to sleep. That's all. And it's for me to adjust. Nothing should change. And the day he arrived, we still remember, myself and Lakshmi, we were a bit nervous about how to treat, how to respect. Because we were not sure. We never had any Swami in our house before that. And so we were very nervous at the time. My children were there and my Lakshmi's parents were also there. And when he came in and sat on the sofa and we were all standing a bit far, folded hands, don't know what to say, what to talk, and he could see that we were all tense, we were all nervous. So the next thing he did was, he sat on the sofa, there was a small table in the front, he pulled the table, put his feet on that, I never saw a Swami doing that, and then he patted the seat next to him and asked me to come and sit next to him. And nervously I went and sat next to him. He put his arms on my shoulders and then he made me relax. Then he started talking about a bit of himself. We asked about myself, my family, what is everybody doing. And then he suddenly said, I'm hungry, is the food ready? And then then he came to the dining table. At that time we still had that old concept about a Swami should eat separately and then he'll go to his room and then the rest of the family will eat. So the dining table was set for only one plate for him. And he looked at it and then looked at Lakshmi and said, don't treat me like a pariah. I'm your family. And that changed the whole thing. And then he ordered, bring out all the plates. Everybody should eat together. And then we had a proper full meal, the whole family. And he waited till Lakshmi finished all the serving, the last serving. He made her sit also on the table and we had a full meal together. And the next day was the first class of the Bhagavad Gita. And many of you are there at that time, and we remember, we made a very grand arrangement of the stage in the Mulgrave. We made a lot of decoration, flowers, and we had a very nice chair for him. We covered the chair with a ochre color cloth and, side tables, flowers, vases, a soft cushion for his legs, carpet, everything we arranged. And he came, he was very happy, he looked around, greeted everybody, had his first class, and went back home. And at the dinner time, he asked me, who did all these arrangements? Then I thought something went wrong, he was not happy. The next when along with the friends, we all did it together. Then he said, do me a favor. And this is a key word, and do me a favor means this is an order. It's not a favor. But we understood that later. But he said, do me a favor. Do you have the keys for the hall? I said, yes, I do have. Tomorrow morning you go there and check out everything. I need just a chair and a table. And he said, I am not that type of a Swami. Okay? So dutifully, next day morning I went, removed everything. I guess many of people were shocked. What happened? Who removed all these arrangements? But he is a different type of Swami. That's what he tried to tell us. And then afterwards, soon after that, we had a series of monthly visits, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it was a privilege to have him at our place, and we used to have an innumerable number of holy gossips, like Swami Sridharananda used to say, after dinner. And in most cases, when he comes back, he is still charged with the topic, that whole, whether it is Bhagavad Gita or the life of Thakur, it is all in his mind. So he needs to calm down, he needs to, and he spends hours after dinner talking and explaining us some concepts. And the best part of it is when we go to drop him at the airport on Saturday, and of course many of you also accompanied us, and the car time was the 1 hour drive time was the best time for us to review, revise, or ask questions about the talks he gave. And I remember one day I asked some questions maybe, and he was talking about Maya, the concept of Maya, how it happens. And as it happened, I was driving and I missed a turn which I take normally to go to the airport. I kept quiet because he was talking and I didn't say anything, so I kept moving forward, and at the next opportunity I took a U-turn. That's the time he realized what happened. Suresh, have you missed the turn? I sheepishly said yes. But so there's nothing to worry, we'll be still in time. Then he concluded the topic of discussions. But he said, when you're not alert, if you're not vigilant, Maya will take you for a ride. That's what happened to you. And then when he reached the airport, most times when he says, you're all very busy people, you drop me at the front of at the airport, I'll manage. And I must confess, that's the first time I disobeyed him. I said, no, we will not leave you like that, and we cannot do that. Then he agreed. So then we all walk together into to the gate, and then we get another 1 hour time. We have to get 1 hour, maximum 50 minutes. If you are later than that, you will hear a lot about it later. But that's how strict he is. He wants to be there before time, like we heard before. And that 1 hour, of course, is a good opportunity for all of us to again talk on many topics, including organizational matters, plus any other doubts. And when the boarding is announced, then he is ready to go. He holds my hand, pats it a couple of times, and says, do you have your permission? I used to think, if you have asked me that home, I could have refused, but not at the right time of boarding. He's so sweet. It's very sweet of him to ask, do you have your permission? And then he goes to the gate, and we quickly move ourselves and stand straight to have a good view of his walking. And then as he goes in, and when it's time for him to turn inside, he stops, turns back, and gives us a smilingly wave. That picture alone is very, very valuable. And then it repeats. We repeat the whole thing every time. And we had numerous occasions of him coming, and every time he inquires about the people, about the devotees who couldn't attend, or how are they. Sometimes I used to report to him when he was in Sydney that so-and-so is not well. Then he makes it a point. He tells me, we have to go after the class, we have to go meet so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. I don't care what time, you work it out. Just let me know when to go, I'll be there. Sometimes I tell him, when he's very tired, and tell him, let us plan it for tomorrow. He says, no, this is Thakur's work. Nothing can be delayed. And then, of course, one of the first things he said is, he encouraged all of us to have an ashram here, as you all know. And in the first time when he gave that idea, we were all looking at each other's faces. Another mortgage, we all have our own mortgage. How do we manage? Then later I asked him about how do we manage, and he said, don't think that this is your job. Don't think that it is you who is doing it. You have to think that it is Guru Maharaj's house, and you are doing work for him. As long as you all do it sincerely, to the best of your ability, and leave the problem to him. It is his house, he will find a way to solve it. Which happened, which we all know. The other very many of you would have noticed, whenever he comes, in those days, and at least in the early days, he never used to carry a phone. He never used to carry any dollar, not even a single dollar with him. He used to come as it is. And that reminds us of Swami Vivekananda's initial. And it took us a lot of time and effort to convince him, please carry a phone. Sometimes we could be late in picking up. What does it matter? I'll sit here. Take your time. He never used to worry. But of course, the later few years, he started keeping a phone. And of all, at the time of celebrations, again, many of you have noted, we have celebrations, he gives his talk, he comes out of the ashram, sits in the front, facing the mountains. And I used to ask him many times, Maharaj, you've not eaten anything since morning, shall I get you some small snack, something? No. Let everybody finish, let the function be over. And after everybody eats, and then I had to report him, so everybody, are you sure? Go around and ask everybody. And then only he has his prasadam. He waits till the last person has it. That is, in a way, the Holy Mother working through him. But at the same time, in all these things, he's not just he's one of the most jovial, very light-hearted person. And there are numerous occasions we had very, very great laughter with him. And I remember one occasion at home, my wife has changed, Lakshmi has changed some decorations in the house, some wall hanging paintings. And he remembers, oh, this was not there last time, what has happened, this is here. And is appreciating the whole thing. And then he turned to me and said, isn't it Lakshmi has a good taste of all these things and a lot of, she has good details about the quality and things like that. I said, yes, she has a very good taste. 35 years ago, she took the first decision and is still going strong. And that laughter he gave, I can still, it reverberates. He gave one of the roaring belly full of laughter. Ah ha ha ha, come here Lakshmi, suno, ye baat suno, come here. And then he told in pure Hindi and Urdu, which means, दूसरों की तारीफ करो और खुद को भी कर लो. That means you praise others and include yourself into it. That's what, and it's very laughing, very funny time. So it's endless, the amount of the joyful interactions we had him, and blessings. It was a great blessings for us, for our children, and it was nice. And today, as we are gathered here, we are celebrating his almost 100 years of life. And it's fortunate that a part of that 100 has overlapped our own lives. That's the great blessings. And let us remember that he is still here. Although he's gone to the under the direct care of Holy Mother, he's still with us. And let us remember that he's looking at us, he's smiling at us, he's ever smiling, he's blessing us with us. Thank you.
My pranams to the Holy Trio, my pranams to Swami Sridharananda ji. As many have mentioned, he is a living presence. My pranams to him. And my namaskars, my loving namaskars to you all. I will just have a very brief, I will keep my talk very brief. Yesterday, when Viren comes every Saturday with the dinner. And yesterday, when he came with the dinner, the same thing which I have shown to you all, that's the photo album with the sketch which his daughter has drawn long back when Sridharanji was delivering a talk, and she was just sitting with her mother, and she drew that sketch. I really was very much impressed seeing that sketch yesterday. It reminded me of Sri Ramakrishna's very interesting comment. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that in Kali Yuga, in this iron age, you don't get the direct revelation of the divine. So we find in the olden age, if you read the scriptures, that as if the God or the God's messenger is coming and delivering the message to the prophet. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying in this age, you don't get direct revelations. But God do talk to you. And how He talks to you? In three ways, through three different type of persons. In this age, God talks to you through three persons. Who are they? Sometimes you will find God is talking to you through a mad person, mad lunatic, or through a drunkard. Sometimes you will find after you lose your wits, you speak words of wisdom. That's God who is talking through you. And the third is very interesting, a child. God speaks through children. So now today we are reflecting here, sitting here on Sridharanji's life, but what all she wrote, our Viren's daughter, as a 9-year child, what she wrote, it made me feel that she was a small child, but it was God who was speaking through her. What wonderful things. That in that, after that, the sketch itself is wonderful. It really will make you feel it is Sridharanandaji. That the sketch she has drawn, it's a wonderful, after this today's meeting, if you have a chance, you just have a look to that picture. What a wonderful sketch she has drawn. But what she has written, that's really impressive. He talks with blissful expression. One thing. Second, pure, calm. And the last thing, always smiling. Wonderful. Just a small child. And I find that actually she has mentioned everything about her, about Sridharananda. He talks with blissful expression. You know, it is not the knowledge in our scriptures. We read the scriptures, we learn it by heart, we rot it out, we just vomit it out. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't appeal to the one who is hearing, because there is no real spiritual experience. We haven't experienced what we are talking. And that becomes something very academic, something very, very dry. For a small child to realize that he talks with a blissful expression is something wonderful. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, very nice thing, that a parrot may repeat the name of God, but at the time of death, the wild caw-caw sound comes. Because that's just something he has memorized. It is not a revelation. But when you are speaking from your revelation, from where the revelation comes, as someone today in the talk has indicated, from Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, that you hear the scriptures, and in the words of Swami Sridharananda, you try to read between the lines. He always used to say, to read between the lines. That's the thing Sridharananda has done throughout his life. The way he used to deliver the lecture, his expositions, you will find there were so many things which he has read between the lines. And not only that, he didn't end there. The next thing is Nididhyasana. To what is your intellectual conviction through your manana. Now you contemplate on that. You assimilate that. Your entire life becomes a living commentary of that. That is the Nididhyasana. When that has happened, when your life has been transformed through living the scriptures, not just simply memorizing and repeating it, then your expression can really become that blissful expression. A spontaneity comes, a wonderful spontaneity we have all seen. The tremendous dhi, the tremendous power to return. That in Sydney, I was just mentioning a fact. In 1992, it happened that Swamiji met a very severe accident, a very serious accident. He was almost on the verge of death. It was such a serious accident. He had a severe hand injury. He had a skull injury, and the right hand, he had multiple fractures. And after that he healed, but he lost the faculty of writing. From that 1992, he has lost the faculty of writing, and as he is the secretary of the institution, Lucknow Hospital, and again when he came here in Sydney, he was the president. Now naturally, being the head of the center, all the bank accounts, all administrative letters, he has to sign. He wonderfully practiced with his left hand the signature. That's the only thing he could do. Just the signature, nothing else. But now as we have to take class, we really marvel at Sridharananda. That from 1992 onwards, everything was going on in his mind. All his lectures were so well formatted, so well spontaneous lectures, and nothing was in his hand. He had never taken a single note. Everything was in his mind. It was just like Guru Maharaj. From the realization, the words are coming, and it was so spontaneous. That's why you find they're so interesting, that everyone gets totally engrossed when he is speaking. And that blissful expression speaks of that came from his life, Nididhyasana. And it reminds us of Guru Maharaj's word, that we, the so-called the literates, our condition is just like a vulture. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that we soar very high up in the sky with all our education, with all our achievements. But sometimes we find our entire attention is where the vulture soars are very high in the sky, but it is looking at the corpse. Some rotten corpse lying somewhere in the ground, it's looking at that, its full attention is on that. So sometimes we find our education never helps us to overhaul our personality, to transform ourselves. But we find in the life of Sridharanandaji what a wonderful transformation happened, and that was finding expression through his talks, through his behavior, through his demeanor. Everywhere you find that wonderful expression. The next thing which was mentioned in that drawing is pure, calm. From where that purity comes? From that Nididhyasana. He has transformed his life. That Sri Swami Vivekananda used to give the example of a mollusk. What it does, a small sand particle irritates it, it dives deep, and it starts salivating over that. And that saliva that gets, it becomes something saturated, and that gets transformed into the pearl. This pearl's oyster convert the pearl that way by salivating over the irritant. For realized soul, the scriptures are like that irritant. Their guru's words are like the irritant over which they have salivated. Their entire life is a salivation over that, and that has converted into them like a pearl. So he was a pure soul, extremely pure. What that purity speaks of, which is the result of that Nididhyasana. And from that purity comes that calmness. A tremendous, have anyone seen him anytime getting agitated? I was with him from 1991 onwards. Even in Sydney I was saying, yes, we have seen him getting angry. But I was joking that we in Lucknow used to say that he used to scold left and right, which was very difficult to face him when he was scolding. Once he asked me, this is a very personal experience, that some get good japa in the morning, good meditation, some in the evening. When you have good meditation, some are early risers, they have in the morning, some in the evening. So everyone has their own time. So I jokingly said, Maharaj, when someone comes and says me, Sridharananda is calling you, that's the time I did do my best japa. It was because we were so scared. But one thing in retrospect we remember, a wonderful thing we remember. What's that? That when you go, that scolding had a wonderful formatted structure. We used to call it Om Narayani Namostute. You know why? That when we sing that prayer every day, that chant from the Chandi, that Om Sarva Mangala Mangalye, all of you who have attended our evening Aarti, you know, that ends with the chanting Om Narayani Namostute 4 times. It starts at a very low tune, and gradually it goes to the climax, very high, and then again it comes down. So his scoldings were like that. First you go, you feel as if he's explaining you something very softly, and suddenly his voice will rise up, and you're not prepared for that. And left and right, he will just scold you, and you're thinking of running away, then you will again hold him with the soft words. No need to run away. And later, in retrospect, we always now understand, realize that that's how he was impressing. He wanted to imprint something on our mind. It was not the expression of his anger. He never used to get angry. It was just to imprint something on our mind. So that scolding was also structured. So this is a wonderful thing, especially the parents, the teachers should all know. That never get angry with your children. That scolding is required, but it should come out of love. When you are scolding, actually you are loving, and what you are doing is just for the good of the children, and there is no fang, no venom in it. That's a very important thing. And that's the thing we find in the life of Sridharananda. He was always calm. And that calm came from that purity. His mind was so pure that in Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, this verse I was just thinking, is such a wonderful verse. We have the 5th verse of the 15th chapter. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritya kama dandair vimuktai sukha dukkha sanghai gacchantya mora padam avyayam tat. It's a wonderful sloka. That nirmana moha, the one who has gone beyond all delusion. Jita sanga dosha, who has gone beyond all attachments. Adhyatma nitya, the one who is always established in his spiritual glory. And vinivritta kama, he has gone beyond all desires. These all words speaks of the purity. From that purity what comes, the next line speaks of dandair vimukta sukha dukkha sangai. That you go beyond all the dualities of joys and sorrows. When you are in a very elated, joyful situation, you are not extremely elated. And when you are having situations where it speaks of your crisis, then also it cannot in any way disturb you. We have seen Sridharanandaji. It's not that his life was always full of success and colors. He had gone through tremendous setback. But that word, even when he was in that setback, when he was going through that crisis, the same word, that it is after all Sri Ramakrishna who is working. We are just the mere instrument. We do our best and let us not worry. Because that's the duty of Sri Ramakrishna. He is there to take care of everything. There is a very nice Tagore song, Tomar holo shuru, amar holo shara. That for you it's the beginning, for me it's the end. Actually, the meaning is wonderful. Where the poet is saying, Rabindranath is saying, that once I have resigned to you, now it's the beginning for you. All the worries are yours. Amar holo shara. For me it's over. Why should I worry? I have now surrendered to you. And that gives the calmness, tremendous calmness, which we see in the life of Sridharananda. Never in any situation we find him getting perturbed. And that speaks of that dandair vimukta sukha dukkha sangai. In whatever way the situation, the life's occurrences are swinging from joy to sorrow. But he is that calm one, never disturbed. Even on the day he was in hospital. I went on 8th. I got the phone call on 8th of December that Swamiji is seriously ill. It's very interesting. Previously, never, even if he was admitted to the hospital, we never used to get phone call. This time, even the one who were looking after him, they understood. So this time we got the phone call. So because Maharaj never wanted that anyone should get worried about his health. Generally we never used to get any phone call. This time the phone call came and immediately we understood that the situation is grave. That day itself we booked the ticket. By the time I reached, it was quite late. So I couldn't, at last meet him because the visiting hours were over. So on the 9th I went to meet him and I was standing and then he couldn't, because all the pipes, everything were there, because all the toxin which were in his stomach, they had to cleanse, drain it out. So it was very difficult for him to talk. And over that there was a mask for his breathing. So he removed the mask and somehow that I found that he's indicating to come near. So went near him. And then he wanted to talk. So I kept my ear near his mouth just to hear what he was whispering. I was really surprised what he was saying. He understood that this is the time he's not going to come back. On 9th, he's saying, on 11th, it was Holy Mother's birthday. On 9th, he whispered on my ear, I am just worried that nothing should happen on Holy Mother's birthday. Just a wonderful thing that his play is done. He is not bothered about his life and death. It's all over. He has played the game nicely. He is waiting, but nothing should, because he knew very well if anything happened on Holy Mother's birthday, the celebration will be disturbed. So that's why he's saying, I am worrying that nothing should happen on 11th, means on Holy Mother's birthday. And would you believe, On the 11th, on the day of the celebration, the entire day, the only conversation was whenever anyone went with the prasadam, he was asking, have the same thing as just now Suresh told, have everyone took prasadam, the charnamrit, the tirtham which was taken, that they thought that they will just give him a sip of the tirtham. He was asking, have everyone got the prasadam, have everyone got the tirtham? Repeatedly asked, and then only he had that. Repeatedly he asked whether puja has been done properly. In the evening, artrikam has been done properly. And that was 11th. From the 12th morning, he almost stopped conversation. He was not responding. Just see that we have heard in the scriptures, in Yoga Sutra it is mentioned, that we, most of us, at the time of death, we know that death is approaching, but we are so attached to life that it is almost forced out of us. But for an illumined soul, they manage it, they plan it. It was such a planned thing. In Yoga Sutra, the technical term is called arishta. You plan your death. So he almost planned it. Just he waited for that 11th, that from the 12th morning he was not responding. We were asking him what he wants, nothing, no response. Whether we should take him to the palliative care or back to the ashram, we were not getting any response. And then at last it was decided that he will be taken to the palliative. The arrangements already started, and we thought in the meantime, let us keep the photo of the Holy Triad in front of him. Thakurma Swamiji's photo we kept. And you know that the last moment speaks a lot. I say that he had a bias for the Holy Mother. His head just tilted towards the mother's photo. And he was just looking at Holy Mother. Just Holy Mother, and he was repeating something. I thought he is repeating the Holy Mother's name. Or another Swami, our Harshal Maharaj, he said most probably he is conversing with Mother. And as he was with the Swamiji for such a long time, he made a very sweet comment. When he comes back, we'll have to ask him what he was conversing with Holy Mother. So that we never got that chance. But just see how calm. He's deciding even in the last moment, that calmness, that purity gave that wonderful calmness. Even in the last moment, nothing is there to agitate him. His play has been done. Always smiling. That wonderful, that smile, we have seen him in his face. That reminds me of that in Viveka Chudamani, there is a wonderful verse, very poetic. The Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santo Vasantavati Loka Hitang Charanta Tirna Swayang Bhima Bhavarnava Janan Ahetuna Anyan Api Tarayanta. So these great souls are just like the spring. The spring season, you all know. The spring season itself doesn't know, but it enlivens. Everything gets enlivened. That's why it's called spring. That life springs back. Everything gets enlivened. These great souls are like Vasantavat. What a nice poetic expression Shankaracharya is saying. That they have done for their life whatever has to be done. Now, for the entire world, you find they're always smiling. That is the Vara Abhaya. He is giving that it is a blissful assurance that yes, Guru Maharaj is there for you. Holy Mother is there for you. Life has its struggle, but those struggles need not deter you from being always having that hope that yes, even in spite of all these struggles, we can have that equilibrium which spirituality alone can give us. That assurance is there in the smile. They're like that spring season, that the Tirna Swayam, they themselves have already transcended this world of duality, and now their life is Bhima, what Ahetuna Anyan. They have no selfish motive. That just now Suresh ji was saying, that there's all those big arrangements, chairs and paraphernalia. When we see all those things, being in the Ramakrishna tradition, we sometimes find that those speak of some motive to create a sense of awe, so that the people are attracted. But Sri Ramakrishna's idea was very wonderful. Does a Paramahamsa grow through horns? His life gets transformed. There is no need for any external paraphernalia. Their life itself speaks. And that's what we find this life of the illuminated soul like Sridharananda. Their life was transforming. They themselves have already transcended the world of duality. And their life is just for that selfless love, nothing else. Ahetuna Anyana Pitarayanta, to just help us out. from this quagmire called world, to help us out from this. And for their life is. And that way, though he is with Holy Mother at present, but at Holy Mother, he is sitting on the lap of Holy Mother, but his face is still facing us. He is with him, but his face is still facing us, that smiling face. With that, he is there to assure us, to guide us, to continue to guide us in our life. So feel the living presence. That today, this prayer meeting is not just a remorse occasion. It's a joyful occasion to be assured of the fact that he is a guidance principle still now with us. And whenever we pray to Guru Maharaj, through him, his grace is still available to us. So with these few words, I would like to conclude my just words. Thank you all. Namaskars. I will do a little offering, and then a small aratri, and there won't be any Pushpanjali today. We will just have the prasadam after the aratrikam. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Just a little announcement. Next week on the Saturday 10th, we are celebrating Swami Vivekananda's birthday in this same hall. So please join on next Saturday. I'll send out the emails later today. And please register yourself and please do come.